Okay, so if I sound kind of sick, it's because I am, my one nostril is stuffed full of, goop. So Superman, eh? He's a pretty cool character, flying around and, beating up bad guys, that kind of deal. And, they're, um, you know, it's Superman. But what if there was more than one version of Superman? Whoa, that's so cool. Now we have Superman from the 1960s. We have Superman, but if he was a communist? Okay, a bit strange, but whatever. Superman, but if he was a oh no, not the funny mustache man. We also have Superman, but if he was evil. Wait a minute, didn't we already do this one? And now we have Superman, but if he was evil. I'm starting to not like the trend I'm seeing here, bro. Okay, so if you kind of didn't take the hint already, there's been quite a few versions of Superman that are, grr, me, evil. I'm gonna punch you through your chest and everything. But there is one version of Superman that I do enjoy, and obviously, judging by the title of the video, you probably know why. It is Kingdom Come Superman. Now, the reason why it is this particular version of Superman is for a couple of reasons, which I'm going to describe or go over in this video with my friend Razor. But before we get into that part of the video, I just want to say that this is a new kind of video I'm doing, where I'm analyzing a character to a degree and just talking about it and the media the characters in, because I kind of want to do new stuff for videos, and I don't want it to be solely gaming anymore. I'm still trying to get other content out. If you know what I'm talking about, the silly blue claim. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to basically do some new content ideas, or some new form of content for y'all. And one thing before the video actually gets started, please do not start an argument in the comment section, whether it be power scaling or why my opinion and Razor's opinion is wrong about this version of Superman and whatever, because one, I don't care, and two, if you do that, I'm going to straight up ban you from my comment section. So yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoy the video. And
Before we start, obviously, now we want to mention that we want no power scaling.
Yeah,
that's usually in my videos a lot, because all I really do is that I like talking about the characters. This is like Clay's first time ever doing this kind of stuff, so we want to allow no power scaling. We're probably going to talk about some of the things that he's did in fighting, but nothing too exstantial and nothing too crazy.
Yeah, and if any of you morons come over from TikTok and are like, shut the hell up, I don't care, he looks cool, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
He has some really cool shit in his history too, man. We like all we do is that we like explain. What I like to do is I like explaining the characters and what they've done in their story, but also the cool shit that they've done and their designs. So, yeah.
Well, we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to recap the entire story.
We did that the last time. It's just that. Please keep it civil in the comments.
And my people usually do.
Yeah.
But for any outliers, if you do decide to get uppity and decide to say, well, according to feats, this, that, and XYZ is why he would win against anybody, I am going to. First off, like Razor said, we don't give a fuck. And number two, I will ban you.
That's a little okay.
And you think I'm joking? I'm not.
Yeah, good point.
Do not test me, boy. So, I'm eating Ritz crackers, right? Okay, so before we can really talk about Superman from this universe, we got to talk about how this story was developed, right? And I think that's rather important because without the backstory to how Kingdom Come was even written, or why it was written in the first place, would really be a dishonor to not mention it. So we're gonna go over it first. So picture yourself in the 1990s, right? And it's pretty edgy, not gonna lie. And not only that, but also Marvel and DC are doing pretty terribly in comic sales. And a independent rival known as Image Comics are basically creating anti-hero archetypes. Yes, I am quoting the DC fandom wiki. Shut the hell up.
Now, I do want to mention that there's nothing completely wrong with you liking an anti-hero.
Yeah.
But at the time of this, this was literally like the main thing.
Yeah, it was.
This is kind of why DC and Marvel was kind of failing.
This was around the time when Venom got his own series, and I believe this was around the time that Spawn came out and was starting to make the rounds. And
1992, which was around where Spawn came out.
Yep. And
now we go on. You go first.
Oh, okay. And essentially, these anti-heroes were being pushed to the forefront, and it was mainstream, and things got quite dark and black-pilled, as the cool kids say nowadays. And there wasn't any of the really go-lucky, funny comic stories from the 60s or 70s.
Yeah,
it was mainly a lot of serious stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
And I do want to mention that even though I'm sitting here and I'm a big Spawn fan, I get where Clay is going here, because there was a lot at the time, probably a little too much. I like a lot of anti-heroes, but I also like a lot of superheroes and villains. And it's like I said, it's okay to enjoy your anti-villain or anti-hero. Anti-villain. That's so retarded. And everything.
Yeah.
But there comes a time where there needs to be a breath of fresh air, and this is what Kingdom Come was.
And the two men behind this comic are the incredibly talented Mark Waid and Alex Ross. Alex Ross illustrating these practically lifelike images for comics, and you know what I'm talking about. they
Yeah.
they look like you could. They look like they could come off the comic book page, and you could, they look like real people.
They looked real. And I don't know if you're going to pop up any pictures, but if you look at them closely, you can tell that they really put a lot of time and work into them with the color pastels and the variety of paint. It's such a beautiful, like, it's so beautiful. It's gorgeous. And honestly, I never seen anything like it before. It's crazy. So, yeah. As an artist myself, I can say that it is they're just beautiful. Every panel is absolutely gorgeous. And we were even freaking out about the one panel where it has
I'll put it on screen.
Yeah.
Because it
There
is
is insane.
Yeah, it is because I know that we might be glazing Alex Ross here a bit, but like
No, he deserves it.
It's incredibly talented. You cannot.
He is, and funny enough, he's kind of mostly the reasoning why I wanted to. Well, he's the reasoning why I wanted to get back into art in the first place, and that's where I began. So, but not only that, when you look at Kingdom Come Superman in a different style, in a completely different style, like the more animated style, he looks nothing like Kingdom Come Superman. Like he has similarities, but in Alex Ross, the style he looks like Kingdom Come Superman. That's the crazy part. And you cannot beat the original. I don't care if you have the new design or the new like art style, it still does not look as beautiful as his. It will never ever be the same without his. So,
and so with that, these two wrote Kingdom Come basically as a statement towards all of these, basically towards all of the dark and edgy stuff that it was released around that time.
Yeah.
And initially, I think people... Well, actually, I can't really speak on that. I was about to say, well, I think initially people didn't think it would be successful, but I can't really confirm or deny that, so,
Yeah, we can never... We can't... If we could, we can go in the past and ask people, but we can't now. So...
But what I will say is that Kingdom Come was a breath of fresh air for everybody, and it was so good that in fact it won the 1997 Will Eisner Comic Industry Awards for Best Limited Series.
Exactly.
Now that's pretty good.
It is. That is phenomenal, and that's a big achievement.
Anyways. Go on.
And like I said, like, it's a nice breath of fresh air because all the Spawn comics and all the like just everything that were coming out, even manga was pretty edgy at the time. So, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh no, you're A-okay, buddy, old pal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, now it is time for us to go on to the story part, and I promise you this time it will be way shorter because
you promise.
Well,
you went on for 3 hours.
I did not go on for 33 hours. That is an exaggeration.
Sure.
Bitch, I will slap you in the face. So, Kingdom Come. Now, I'm just going to set out the basic backstory. The setting of Kingdom Come takes place 20 years in the future from 1996. So, like 2016 or whatever.
Yeah.
Roughly, I don't know. In the comic, it says it says a decade, but the wiki says 20 years. I don't know. Anyway, it takes place a while after a certain event. But anyways, it's in the future, and essentially all of the heroes that we know from the Justice League, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, you know, they're all
Aquaman, my goat.
Anyways, they're all they've all gone into retirement. And in comes this new generation of heroes, right? Quote unquote heroes. Yeah. Wait a minute, why are they fighting in the streets? Wait, what the fuck? Wait a minute. So essentially what happens is over this period of time, anti-heroes begin to pop up everywhere, and unfortunately the line between villain and hero becomes massively blurred. And in the first pages of the comic, you can't walk down the street without seeing superhumans fight each other. And anybody caught in the crossfire is, you know, well, good luck.
Yeah, just absolutely good luck, man.
And
it's almost like that. It's almost like that. It doesn't matter to them if any innocent person gets in between them. They don't care.
Yep.
Bye. Just.
It don't matter. Yeah. They fight with reckless abandon, and anybody who happens to be caught in the middle, well, sucks to be you. However, How did it get to this point? How did it get to the point where there are no discernible heroes or villains? There are just superhumans fighting each other and civilians caught in the crossfire. Well, what we have to do here is go back. So, how did it get to this point of, you know, absolute chaos when you walk down the street to go buy something from your grocery store, or to go to school, or to go anywhere really? Well, previous to all these events that actually kickstarted everything, Lois Lane and a vast majority of the Daily Planet staff, including Perry White, Jamie Olsen, any other named characters that I don't really know about. As you can see, I'm very well versed in my Superman lore. Anyways, so the Joker goes to Metropolis, pays a visit to the Daily Planet, and basically gasses out the entire place, killing a lot of folks, Lois Lane included. Superman, unfortunately, wasn't able to get there in time. And she essentially asks him to not lose his humanity. And with that, Superman is now in this tough position. He wants revenge, but he has to take in the Joker. And that's what he does. Even though it takes them quite a few days to find him, Superman finds him and brings him in to basically allow him to go through, to do it the right way. Not the wrong way like a certain Superman did around circa 10 years ago. after a certain bomb went off in Metropolis. Who could I be referencing right now? I don't know. Maybe he burned a hole into Shazam's head. Oh, Superman! Ah! Except it's from Injustice. I fucking hate that version.
Burn hole through a kid's head.
So he takes him in, but unfortunately, Magog, a new hero, sees the Joker and he's like, "Well, I better take care of this myself," and he kills him.
Yeah, no, we're not fucking joking. Like, he just straight up.
Yep, you can probably see it on the panel that I'm showing on screen right now. He just freaking blasts a hole through him and kills him.
No, he straight up, he does murder.
Superman had no part in that. All he did was bring him to the police precinct to be, to be put through the system. Magog, on the other hand, decided, well, it's the Joker, gotta kill him. And while, yes, the Joker has done plenty of horrible things, it sets a very horrible precedent. Because following this, Magog is then arrested he's apprehended by Superman, and he brings him into the courtroom to basically say, well, he killed the Joker. He's got to be, he has to be tried for that as a crime because he took somebody's life. However, the judge rules in favor of Magog and considered his actions justifiable, in quotation, and basically lets him walk free.
Yeah.
And after this, Magog challenges Superman to fight him, and Superman, at this point, he realizes that humanity has chosen a very dark route. And instead of opting to play into these charades, he flies away. And why does this set a horrible precedent? Well, if you kill the Joker, what stops all these other upcoming superhumans from killing their own opponents?
Exactly. What sets the standard? What?
There is no line in the sand, so to speak. So now, because with the Justice League, if there's a fight going on, like, say against, I don't know, Brainiac or whatever, and there's civilians around, there's going to be somebody to take those civilians away from the battle. Now in Kingdom Come, there is no such thing. If you're there to witness it as a bystander, you have a 50-50 chance of either getting hospitalized or you don't wake up at all.
Yeah. You literally will potentially, get unalive.
So, with this sets a bad precedent, and hold on, turning back on my fan because it's too warm in here. It sets the bad precedent, and over the course of 10-20 years, people, the superhumans begin fighting each other, and, like we already said 30,000 times already, any civilian in the middle, well, good luck, pal. That is until Magog tries to apprehend Parasite.
Yeah.
In Kansas. And during this battle, Captain Atom is peeled apart by Parasite. And if you know what happens when atoms get forcibly ripped apart, well, you can ask the folks of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
Because Kansas is 100% eviscerated from the face of the earth. There is a nuclear explosion. But then you might be asking yourself, all right, well then where the hell is Superman during all this? Well, he's in the Fortress of Solitude. And he's living there on a farm in a holographical environment made to resemble something similar to Kansas. Wonder Woman basically tries to convince him to come out of retirement to help the world, but Superman ain't having it. Initially, that is. He then goes to check, and he sees what happens in Kansas, and, well, he decides it's time to get the boys and girls back together. You know what that means, right?
Yep.
And so he gathers all the heroes that he knows of. So, after saving a tram car full of innocent folks and basically taking out a bunch of reckless superhumans that were duking it out on a monorail or a tram system or whatever the hell, Superman assembles the good old Justice League, and that is the Flash, Hawkman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, Red Robin, and Supergirl, and I think several other folks I don't remember. It's been a bit since I've read the comic, just so you know. I'm kind of old, I have, 2 jobs now, because, I'm poor. Anyways. They are essentially... They come back together, and they're fighting crime once again. And after this, they go to a UN press conference and essentially say that... And essentially state that they're going to set a line in the sand whether everybody likes it or not. This also sets a pretty bad precedent, because now, instead of being, pretty democratic about how things go, the Justice League is now going to be seen as more authoritarian. And as human history shows, humanity does not take well to authoritarians.
Not at all.
And I don't even have to list any specific Anyways, side tangent aside, Superman tries to convince Batman to come back, but Bruce ain't having it. He's like, well, look, you left us for dead, and I don't fucking appreciate that. Because my secret identity is out there, my mansion got burned to the ground, and Arkham Asylum basically exploded, and they're all out roaming the streets. You left us with the bag, Superman.
Yeah.
So screw you, I'm not joining. That's essentially what Bruce says to him. And Superman's like, okay, well, darn. And then moves on. The United Nations are not they're very skeptical of Superman's methods to achieve the goals of the reformed Justice League. And they aren't very confident after hearing that a line will be put in the sand, whether anybody likes it or not.
Yeah, they're not.
They're
not
like
delighted.
They're like, okay, we'll see about that, man. Anyways, moving on. So Superman goes out and essentially basically says, look, well, actually, no, this is his only warning to the rogue superhumans. He goes to a nightclub and basically says, listen, you can join the Justice League and, help us, take care of, all the problems we've been having with, everybody going apeshit. Or you can be dealt with. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
So that also sets a pretty bad precedent because, yes, that does convince some people. Some of these superhumans are like, wow, it's Superman. Don't mind if I do join the Justice League. Or you get, oh, that old guy? Fuck him. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. So now you either galvanize people or you essentially, or you gain followers. Anyways, moving on from there. And, well, actually not moving on from there. Directly following this, and in the following encounters that the Justice League has and Superman has with these rogue superhumans, they're starting to find that a lot of them have been galvanized to stand against the Justice League. And with this, they're starting to realize that there's a lot more there to try to contain. And so with that solution, they need a prison. And at first they go to Aquaman. He says no. Well, actually, no, not Aquaman anymore. He's Arthur Curry now.
Yeah.
Because he had to he had to take on his role as king of Atlantis. And he goes to Orion, who basically killed who killed Darkseid and is now ruler of Apokolips. And Orion says no as well. Well, 2 strikes, buddy. It's not gonna happen in either of those places. And after confronting Magog and having a little argument with him in the hellscape that was Kansas, Superman and the Justice League decide, well, this is where we're going to build it. We're going to build the prison in Kansas, where it's away from everybody, and it's not going to hurt anybody, and we can rehabilitate everyone.
Yeah. At
least that was the plan. Because now, instead of what was supposed to be a Reformation Center, the rogue superhumans are now calling it the Gulag. One Google search of the word Gulag, you will have nightmares for the rest of your life. Please, for the love of God, do not look that up at all.
Disturbing stuff.
Yeah, it is truly disturbing. Please do not look it up if you're not looking at anything regarding DC or Superman. And, well, and they built it pretty big, too. They got it to a pretty big size. They filled it within 2 weeks beyond capacity. 2 weeks!
2 weeks.
Do you realize how many superhumans that is, bro? That is insane. Anyways, going on beyond that, we're going to skip past a lot of filler stuff regarding Lex Luthor and everything, because this isn't a video about Lex Luthor, and if you think it is, well, then you're a skinhead. But anyways, we're not going to focus on a lot on the other characters, because this is strictly Superman. And speaking of Superman, during this time, we actually get a glimpse into, you know, how he feels about this in a conversation with Superman and Wonder Woman. And they're sitting on the outside of Green Lantern's satellite, which is being used as a impromptu Justice League HQ in outer space. And through this, Superman laments that, you know, are we really doing what's right here? You know, are we taking care of this the way we should? And Diana reveals at one point that she had been ousted from Paradise Island for failing her mission as an ambassador for peace. And that's not good. And we'll get to that later.
Listen, we got it.
Well, it's relevant to the story. That's why I say we'll get to it later.
Okay.
Wonder Woman is relevant to this story. But anyways, what were you gonna say?
I think that what people forget about what Superman is that you see, even though like what's happening right now and what might seem right with him sending people to this gulag, he still has second thoughts. We got to remember that Superman is something that everybody forgets, is that he's human. He stands for good. That's what everybody forgets, and that's what's so interesting about my Superman video, is that everybody forgets that Superman is human. He is a man. Him like having second thoughts right now is another sign of that. It's yes.
No, go on.
What everybody does fail to understand about Superman is that, like, he has layers beyond, like, multiple layers. And, yeah, layers! Fucking... But that's what's so fun, and that's what's so interesting about Superman, is that the layers that he has, the layers and upon layers and layers that he has about him, it goes very deep. He is a man. That's who he is. And him thinking that is he really doing the right thing is another sign of him being human. So, there you go. Sorry. Side tangent. Done.
And for those of you who might be thinking, well, what the hell does this have anything to do with Superman? And why is this even relevant? Well, at the time, it wasn't really relevant, like some of you might be thinking now. However, when Injustice released, and its comic run released, not once during that entire year run, or during its entire story, did that version of Superman stop to think, well, am I doing what's right? Or is this the wrong way to do things? And the answer is painfully clear. But he never takes a stop, or he never takes a stop. You know, you would think that with me being born in the United States, I'd be able to, you know, speak English like a normal fucking American citizen, but apparently I can't! Anyways, blah, blah, blah. Yes, that's right. The Injustice Superman doesn't stop to think, or he doesn't stop to take a moment of self-reflection to be like, or to ask himself, am I doing what's right? Am I staying true to my values? to what I think, or not to what I think, but to doing what is right. And if he ever did that, he would have said no. However, he never does that. With this Superman, you see this. You see it in the panel. And you see, and you may not get these comic panels of him sitting alone being like, am I doing what's right? Like, like you don't get these philosophical comic panels with him pondering or meditating on that. You get it in a discussion or two with him talking to other characters.
And that's what's so important, is that he actually talks to people and actually asks them, are we, like, am I doing the thing, like, the right thing? Would Lois want this? That is somebody thinking about if they're doing the right thing or not.
And to add on to this sense of, okay, well, am I doing the right thing? His teammates are starting to get concerned that Superman's plan to enforce this sand in the line, or this line in the sand, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And very briefly, we see the character that we're seeing this all play out through, Norman McKay, a pastor who received a vision from the Sandman before the Sandman died. And McKay, and when Superman questions the pastor, you know, well, how did you get here, and who are you? He answers in Scripture, and the third part of the trees was burnt up, and all the grass was burnt up, and the sun and the air were darkened. Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come. And this confuses Clark, because he's like, well, what? Why are you quoting the Bible, dude? However, you know, attention is turned away because guess what? There is a riot in the Gulag. And when he turns back to McKay, McKay vanishes with the Spectre while Superman's back is turned. And essentially, you know, he doesn't really know who that individual was. But that serves a very, very huge forewarning or foreshadowing for what's going to come. Anyways, so Wonder Woman sends Flash, Green Lantern, and Supergirl to deal with the riot, and during this time, the UN has noticed the Gulag in Kansas, and they are, to say the least, they are concerned about it because it's in Kansas, which is it's pretty center to the United States of America, you know, where people don't get sent to concentration, or not concentration camps, but they don't get sent to these big, you know, Reformation camps unless it was 1942 and you were Japanese, but we don't talk about that. Oh. Anyways, so Wonder Woman and Superman go and speak with the UN, and while there, they essentially after the meeting, the UN is whatever little confidence they had before that, it is now like almost rock bottom. It's not there yet because there's some hope that Superman could turn this around. But it ain't looking pretty good, man. I'm telling you now, bro. I mean, like, a gulag in Kansas? Not my America, bro. Anyways.
Not my America. Yeah, exactly. Kind of fucked up. I don't know, man. Having a gulag? Yeah, pretty, big through the gulag with you.
Anyways, going back to Wonder Woman, while I harped on this too much on the last time we tried recording this, but I will mention it now. Wonder Woman in this comic is a lot more aggressive after she lost her ambassador status or ambassador of peace status, because now she is essentially going to deal with the rioters. And she is putting on Golden Eagle armor and equipping herself with a magical sword to deal with them. And Superman is trying to reason with them.
Yeah.
And Superman is like, well, look, if you kill them, that is only going to make things worse. You cannot do that. You need to take a step back and think about this. However, in the prison, the prisoners have started to breach the walls, and the warden, Captain Comet, has been murdered. And now Wonder Woman is now furious at the inaction, and she assembles her own team to respond to this, to go to the gulag. And with her, it is either the prisoners surrender or they get put 6 feet under.
Yep.
And she's trying to get Superman to go with him, or to go with her, and he ain't having it because he's like, well, no, you don't just kill people. You know? You don't just do that. And then Wonder Woman gives him a farewell kiss after seeing that, you know, he ain't coming. And to say it was... Yes, it was a kiss, but it wasn't very passionate at all. It was kind of like here you go. Yeah, kind of afterthought kind of deal. And then she leaves, and Superman is all alone. And then...
Oh, boy.
At this point, Superman realizes that the gulag... Everything in the gulag, if it's not contained, it will spill out, and then there will be a massive tidal wave across the entire world, or at the very least, the United States, or North America. And he realizes, and I assume he realizes this, and he essentially, he races to the Batcave, because... While Superman was trying to, do this his own way, Bruce Wayne had his own group to try and, fix things excuse me. He had his own group to try and fix things that way. Unfortunately, it didn't work out because they tried to they tried to ally with Lex Luthor, but Lex Luthor mind-controlled Shazam, and Shazam, let's just say that Shazam is now flying at full speed towards the gulag, and Superman needs to, he needs to intervene if he wants to make sure that chaos doesn't ensue. And it's in this argument with Batman in the Batcave
where Superman essentially lays it all out. He's like, "Look, pal, I don't have time for you to talk down to me and be condescending, because the fate of the world is at stake, and you haven't, and in all the times that we've fought Brainiac, Doomsday, Darkseid, insert any other character here, we've stuck through it thick and thin, and I need you now." And then Batman says, "Hey, guess what? Shazam's heading there too."
Ah,
and Superman's like, "Oh shit." And now he's flying there at full speed too, trying to get there as fast as possible. And unfortunately, Shazam intercepts Superman. They crash land, and then the Gulag busts open. Aw, shit. Well, the vision came true that Sandman had predicted. Armageddon was now here. Superman's worst fear. And
oh boy.
And essentially and as this battle is raging on, as it's, going absolute bonkers in Kansas, the UN is freaking out. They have decided, okay, Superman, he fucked up. We can't. He's had his chance. He's done. We need to figure this out for ourselves, because humanity must come first. That's their attitude. And so they decide, you know what? We got to get rid of them all right now. And so nuclear weapons capable of killing metahuman life, except for Superman, are loaded onto fighter jets, and are sent to Kansas.
Great.
So now we have three major issues at hand. Number one, the prison riot has gone absolutely bonkers and has spilled out of control. Problem number two, Shazam is brainwashed to the point where he is now fighting Superman, and that's stopping the prison riot from being contained. The newest problem number three, is now the 3 nuclear bombs that are heading for Kansas, heading for the Gulag. And this is... And this is absolutely terrible. Because unbeknownst to everybody involved here, Norman McKay and the Spectre are watching all of this go down. And, well, Norman tells the Spectre to do something to stop this, but he doesn't.
Yep.
And thankfully, Batman arrives with his own team to assist. However, he's not particularly happy with Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman kills Von Bach, a villain, a minor villain that appears in the comic. And well, I'm not gonna harp too much on that. If you want to see the full interaction, you can look it up. But essentially, he convinces her to help him, because she takes him up above the clouds, up above the chaos, to deal with him personally. And off in the distance, they see the third problem. The third nuclear problem. And it's heading right for them. And,
Yup.
and she decides, well, it'd be better if he helps us. So they both take out 2 planes. Yes! They took out plane. Oh, wait, guess what? One dropped the nuclear bomb.
Why'd you say it like that?
And now, all hell is about to break loose. Even more. I don't know, I tried to sound super serious or something. Shut the hell up. Anyways, back on the ground, Superman and Shazam are going at it. And Shazam is blasting Superman with as many magical magic lightning bolts as possible. And, you know, one after the other, and it's causing Superman to bleed. And eventually Superman grabs on to Shazam, and then he turns back into Billy Batson. Also, quick thing here. Yes, I know I'm calling Captain Marvel Shazam. It's to not confuse people, okay? Shut up. This isn't the 1990s anymore. This is 2024, and if you think this is something worth arguing about, I'm going to kill you.
Also, I want to mention that I am a huge Shazam fan, so I'm not mad at this. So if you're a big Shazam fan, then get the fuck out and up.
So essentially, and as so Clark keeps Billy's mouth shut, and he reasons with him, and he tells him, "Look, that nuke up there, if it hits the ground, it is going to kill everybody here except for me. I can't make this decision because, you know, I feel too much like a god. However, I don't think anybody else down here could make that decision to stop the bomb." And he essentially leaves it in Billy's hands. And he levies with him a decision. You can either fight me and everybody dies, or you can let me intercept the bomb and everybody lives. Motherfucker.
Son of a fucking bitch. Who is... Blake!
You better have that in bloopers.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. Oh.
Dude, okay, you also have to have a burp counter. So...
Yeah. Excuse me. Anyways, well, Billy decides to choose a third option that was not presented. Toss Superman to the ground and then take out the bomb himself. In which he does. Unfortunately, however, it's not enough. The bomb detonates, and in the mushroom cloud goes up Billy Batson and every single other hero except for Superman. And anybody else who was protected by the Green Lantern.
Damn.
And now you might be thinking to yourself, Superman can get over this. He got over Lois Lane, right? Right? Wrong. So very wrong. He knows who did it, too. He probably heard it while he was fighting Shazam. And with Superman knowing that the UN killed off hundreds, maybe even thousands of people, he decides, all right, you want to play it like that? I can too. And he goes off to the UN assembly building, seals the doors shut, and everybody inside that building is scared shitless for their lives. Because now Superman is threatening to bring down the entire building in an act of revenge. Something that he had enough self-control beforehand to do. To not do when Lois Lane died. And we're at this precipice where Superman is about to lose his humanity.
When we mention that one makes Superman Superman. So
when you strip away his humanity, all you're left with is Homelander. Or Injustice Superman. However, there is an intervention in the form of Norman McKay, the pastor. The Spectre takes Norman to the UN assembly and teleports him to a balcony, and Norman talks to Superman. And he says, look, you cannot do this, because from a regular man's point of view, Superman was God, basically. He was a god amongst men. And for many years, everybody believed it. And everybody believed that he was a merciful God, one that could intervene to stop a bank robbery or someone being threatened with violence, or to save the world from an event that would threaten to annihilate humanity as a whole. And he warns that if Superman takes down the building, the world will see that Superman is not the merciful God that they thought he was.
And we gotta think about this in a more logical way. Because everybody truly did believe that Superman was this god of hope, this hero. But if he does this, everything that people believed in him is gone.
And he becomes nothing but a monster.
And he will be no better than the man that killed Joker.
He would be no better than Magog. He would be no better than Darkseid, or Doomsday, or even Lex Luthor. And in that moment, Superman, he realizes this. And he realizes that I can't kill these people. I can't. It goes against who I am. And he relents. And he doesn't take down the building. And from that moment forward, Superman uses this opportunity to instead open up communication with human governments, where instead of the Justice League and superheroes acting as, sort of these, shadowy, or higher than believable gods, they're people that you can talk to and that you can, coordinate with and communicate with.
Exactly.
Anyways, moving forward, and after all that, Superman, well, instead of a very violent ending, it is a hopeful one. Because Batman turns the Wayne Manor into a hospital. Wonder Woman is restored to has her status of Ambassador of Peace restored. And Superman begins restoring Kansas from a barren hellscape and graveyard into a farm field, or into, a field for farming. What it was beforehand, before all the chaos. And if you didn't really read anything past the Kingdom Come limited series, that's where his story ended. He had children with Diana and grew old and saw the beginning of the Legion of Superheroes.
Yep. Nice little like a nice little. It's not a bitter or sweet story.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just a good ending. Nobody ends in brutality. And
Yeah, go ahead.
I go on about something about just like those edgy comics in general.
Yeah.
So I want to mention that when it comes down to if you want to have a dark story about a character, it needs to go in a way where is there any hope for this man or thing or character? Because what people don't understand is I want to use Guts from, it's not a comic series, but it's a manga series from Berserker. Guts went on this huge charade, wanting to hunt down the man that ruined his life, took everything away from him, and he wanted just revenge. He was a dark man. He would do anything to get to what he wanted. Now, where am I going with this? Throughout the story, he meets these people, and these people, slowly and slowly, he's building up the family that he once had. And now he reconsiders having revenge. Because he doesn't want to lose him again, or he doesn't want to do anything to harm him. That's my main problem with the old school anti-hero stories. Is there any way for them to turn around? Is there any way for them to see a different path instead?
And if you take a look at a lot of these, such as The Boys, for example, there isn't. The Boys comic literally ends with Huey killing Billy Butcher.
And that's the crazy part, is that not even, I want to bring it up because why not? Even Invincible even brings out a good ending, like a very good ending in the comic series. And The Punisher has a bad ending. There's a few others that have a really bad ending that does not end very well. What I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can't just have a character that went through all this dread, all this loss, and not expect them to grow as a person beyond what they are. And that's the thing. That what makes us human the most. We think about our actions.
Yeah.
Realize that we can always rebuild that back up, no matter what. Not what, definitely not what most of the, not what most of the other comics that I've read show that. They don't show any of that at all. And that sucks.
Yeah.
We don't, it's really nice to have somebody that likes reading these darker and edgier comics, but then have somebody that actually reads these more lighthearted and more great comics. We have two different sides here, and that's what's so good about this conversation that we're having. But anyways, besides all of what I was blabbering on about, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's the whole point of this video, blabbering about Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah. I was yap for like.
And for those of you who think, well, that's a bad way to put it. I'm gonna cut that part out in editing.
Yep.
However, with this being DC, obviously, there's a multiverse. Because, superhero stuff. And you know how the multiverse always works. There's all sorts of shenanigans that comes up with that. And with that, Superman from the Kingdom Come story, he is transported to the prime universe of DC. Basically, like, where main canon Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman take place, and where their stories take place. And he's transported there right before the nuclear explosion occurs.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, excuse me.
We're getting to the good stuff.
Now, I'm not going to go on too much about the Thy Kingdom Come arc from the Justice Society of America comics, because, well, I feel like that warrants its own little. Well,
yeah.
If you want to learn about that, you can either read it or you could watch a YouTube video about it. And for those of you who are asking, well, you didn't, or saying, or who could say, you didn't go over the full story. Well, I did that on accident last time, and it went over. I think we talked for almost 2 hours, and the point of the video was not a Kingdom Come recap. It was about how it affected Superman. And the fact is that by the end of Kingdom Come, Superman is still Superman. Yes, he has seen some horrible things, but he refused to let that change his morals. And to add even more to this, more specifically in the JSA Volume 3, Issue 10, there is a scene where at the JSA HQ, Superman is recounting everything that has happened in the Kingdom Come story prior to him teleporting to the main universe of DC, to Obsidian. And Obsidian is listening. And Superman essentially says he says that, the people that I swore to protect died. And I couldn't stop it. And I couldn't stop that bomb from killing everyone. And killing Billy and, and he's rather depressed about it. However, way across basically like far away from Metropolis in Manhattan. I don't know how far it is in the DC universe, but hey, whatever. That's where we ain't talking about geography here. He hears a young woman, and she's on top of a building, a skyscraper, and she says, "The world doesn't need me." And in that moment, he realizes he sets aside his own problems. And despite the JSA trying to stop him, he overpowers all of them and basically flies at Superman speeds to get to Manhattan. And just before this woman tries to tries to jump off a building and die and end her own life, Superman saves her. And I know for some of you that's like, really? Oh, the whole that's what they did in All-Star. Well, look. That's not the main point. The point is that he set aside his own problems to save somebody
And
who wanted to end it all.
And yet again, that what makes him so. I know I keep saying it, but it's true.
It's what makes him human.
It what makes him a man. He's a damn man, not a merciless killer like everybody likes him to be.
All right. And so, let's get on to our conclusion and what we've learned today. And so, in conclusion, what have we learned today from talking about Kingdom Come Superman? Well, here's one thing. He's still incredibly relevant today. I mean, you take a look at Homelander or Injustice Superman, Plutonian, or any other evil Superman knockoff or pastiche, and you can see very clearly where things went wrong and how, you could say, please, just stop. And they don't. And the biggest takeaway from this is that this Superman, this one in particular, he took the time to reflect on himself.
Yes. Which is what a lot of human beings do in real life.
Because I'm going to get very real here for a moment. There have been huge mistakes in my life, although very tiny potatoes and tiny peanuts in comparison to the things that happened in this comic series. There are times in my life where I goofed up so bad that I had to take a step back and ask myself, what are you doing? And is this what you truly want?
And there's been a whole lot of big bad things that's happened in my life, and too. And that's another thing that I really like about this comic series. What happened to Superman was really, really bad, but he was able to be strong and stand up and keep moving.
In fact, I'm just going to make the comparison right now. Superman from Kingdom Come and Injustice had very similar beginnings. The massive difference between the two, however, is that this Superman decided to step away when he realized that things were going to get dark. Now, do I agree with him running away from Magog and from the problems at hand? No.
No.
However, it is a lot better than him punching a hole through Magog's chest in revenge, or in this new form of justice that has been introduced.
And that's the thing that I don't think anybody really realizes this, is that not everything has to do with revenge.
And not only that, but also justice doesn't always have to be so absolute to the point where you take somebody's life. Now, there are exceptions to this, both in real life and in comic stories, and even in movies too. But here,
Exactly.
Joker was already killed, and killing Magog wouldn't have done anything. It would have only... In fact, it would have set a very scary precedent that, oh, Superman does take off the kid gloves, and yes, he does kill people. Injustice showed that.
Yeah.
And while some people may say, well, actually, Wonder Woman manipulated him. Yes, correct. She did manipulate Superman in that comic.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't... However, he wasn't manipulated when he killed the Joker. So, unless you have some sort of rebuttal there, outside of, oh, well, the Joker was horrible and he nuked millions of people, are you some sort of sadist or something? Then, I don't know what to tell you, man. Did you have something to say, Razor?
I
Oh.
want to say this right now, is if you really have, I don't mean this in a mean way, but if you really do have a problem with us kind of talking badly about Injustice here, there is more of a deeper reasoning why we don't like him. It's just, it's not who Superman is. And that's why we don't like him. We like seeing him as this big chargeable hero that we like to see. It's like how I like my Spawn character to be a man that does the wrong thing, but he wants to be better. It would be one thing if Injustice Superman had took a thought about the actions that he was doing, but then realized that there's no going back now. That is my biggest problem with him and most of the Injustice fandom too.
Well, I wouldn't say the Injustice fandom. I'd say individuals who have seen Injustice versus, any other Superman media. Because...
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
And my reasoning for not liking Injustice Superman is, while yes, he was nice back when I was younger, as I grew up, I started to realize that he started to influence the way Superman has been written. And now there are evil Supermen, both official DC and and ones from independent companies. A certain Homelander comes to mind. Plutonian comes to mind as well. and a couple of other ones that I don't know about, probably. I'm not counting Omni-Man, because Omni-Man has a redemption.
Yeah. By the way, I am a big Invincible fan, too, so I'm glad that you didn't mention him one time. Because,
I mean, yeah, he starts out bad, but he redeems himself.
but yeah, that's the thing, is that's what I'm saying, is that there has to be some sort of redemption with these characters that have a really bad backstory that happened to them.
And that's what made Kingdom Come Superman stand out back then and even now. Because because sure, you can have your edgy comics and everything where there is no happy ending and it is constantly dark and depressing, where nobody wins and everybody goes home a loser. However, in Kingdom Come, yes, everybody does lose at least once or twice. They all end up winning in the end. And they all end up happy with a better and brighter future.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people need, because if you consume too much stuff, because if you consume too much edgy stuff and too much stuff with that's just, where there is no happy ending, you get depressed. And that's why I like Kingdom, and that's why I love it. I love Kingdom Come.
Why we love it so much, yeah.
Because in the comic, despite all the shit that's thrown at Superman and the heroes, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep. There's always that.
So yeah, that is it from us, and I hope you all enjoyed.
Different,
like and
two different opinions and everything else to do with this. Yes, go on and say what you want to say now. I'm sorry, I'm a retarded.
Okay, well, we'll just redo that. So, hope you all enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. Like and subscribe to Razor here. He's growing fast. He needs to grow faster, because if he doesn't overtake my channel, then that's a huge failure in my book. But anyways,
yeah.
To steal Razor's ending line, enjoy your comments, and I'll see you all next time.
Hey!